Ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask you a question today. What is the purpose of your life? Have you ever found yourself standing at a crossroads, not knowing which way to turn, feeling as though something greater is calling you, but unsure of how to walk that path? I want to take you on a journey to discover the deeper meaning of life, a journey with God, the creator of the universe. The path to your purpose is not just about finding the right destination, but it's about walking through the experiences, the highs, the lows, and the moments of doubt with God leading the way. Now, you might be wondering, why should you stick around for the next few moments of your day? Because this speech will challenge everything you thought you knew about purpose. It will shift your perspective from mere existence to living with divine intention. So I invite you to stay with me as we explore not just the destination of purpose, but the journey itself, one where you can trust that every step, even the difficult ones, has been divinely orchestrated for your good. The power of purpose is not just an abstract concept, but the very foundation upon which our lives are built. It gives meaning to everything we do, shapes our decisions, and directs our actions. Without purpose, life can often feel aimless, like a boat drifting aimlessly in the vast sea. But when we discover and embrace our purpose, it is like finding a compass that helps guide us through every storm, challenge, and decision. It allows us to move with intention, conviction, and a deep sense of fulfillment. Many people, especially in a world full of distractions, are constantly searching for meaning. There's a deep yearning in all of us to know why we're here, why we're going through certain experiences, and what our true calling is. This search for purpose is not just about achieving success in the conventional sense, but about finding alignment with something greater than ourselves. For believers, this is where the connection with God becomes paramount. God has a purpose for each one of us, a calling that is uniquely designed to fit our strengths, passions, and even our struggles. The search for purpose often starts with introspection. It's about looking inward and asking yourself, what drives me? What brings me joy and fulfillment? What talents have I been given to serve others? Purpose is not just about pursuing a career or accumulating wealth, but it is about discovering the deeper calling within your soul, whether it's to serve others, to create something meaningful, to teach, to inspire, or to lead. This deeper purpose may not always align with societal definitions of success, and that's okay. The true power of purpose lies in knowing that it is personal, sacred, and fulfilling in a way that is far beyond material gain. In the Bible, Jeremiah 29:11 reminds us, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." This verse is a powerful declaration of God's purpose for his people. It emphasizes that God is intentional in his plans for each of us. When we seek his guidance, we step into a divine purpose that surpasses anything we could imagine for ourselves. Purpose also goes beyond personal fulfillment. It shapes how we interact with the world around us. When we understand our purpose, we begin to see how our actions impact others. We move through life with a sense of duty and responsibility, knowing that the work we do, the love we give, and the choices we make ripple out and touch the lives of those around us. This is why discovering and aligning with our purpose is so powerful. It transforms not only our own lives, but the lives of those we are called to serve. In the pursuit of purpose, there will be moments of doubt, confusion, and even fear. It's easy to get discouraged when the path seems unclear or when we encounter setbacks. However, it is in these very moments that purpose reveals its true power. Challenges and obstacles are not roadblocks, but opportunities for growth. Every difficulty we face shapes our character and prepares us for the greater things God has in store for us. Purpose is not a destination, it is a journey, one that unfolds with every decision, every action, and every moment of faith. When we start to live with purpose, we begin to notice a profound shift in our lives. The mundane becomes meaningful, and the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Purpose transforms the way we view the world, giving us a deeper sense of connection to both our Creator and our community. It shifts us from living passively to living actively with intention and impact. This is the power of purpose. It doesn't just guide our steps, it shapes who we are. how we live and the legacy we leave behind. As we walk this journey, we must remember that purpose is not about perfection, it's about progress and alignment. We are not meant to have all the answers right away, but we are meant to trust the process, knowing that every step, no matter how small, is leading us closer to fulfilling the unique purpose God has set for our lives. God's guidance is a transformative force that shapes our decisions, actions, and paths. When we acknowledge the presence of God in our lives, we are assured that no matter how uncertain the road may seem, we are never truly alone. There are countless instances where people feel lost, confused, or unsure about the next step in life, but it is during these times that we must remember the promise of divine direction. God is not distant. He is actively involved in the intricate details of our lives, guiding us with a purpose beyond what we can always see. When we face challenges, the temptation can be to rely solely on our own understanding or wisdom. We often think we need to have everything figured out, to have a clear and detailed plan laid before us. However, trusting God means surrendering our need for certainty and allowing His wisdom to lead us even when the way forward is not immediately clear. Proverbs 3:5-6 offers a powerful reminder: trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight. This verse encapsulates the essence of trusting God's guidance. It is an invitation to relinquish our grip on control and allow His guidance to chart the course. The guidance of God is not always loud or obvious. Often it comes in subtle ways through a feeling of peace, a moment of clarity in prayer, or an unexpected opportunity that seems to align with our purpose. While it may not always come with flashing signs, God's voice is steady, reassuring, and consistent. The Holy Spirit plays a crucial role in this process. Jesus promised in John 14:26 that the Holy Spirit would be sent to guide us into all truth, to teach us and to remind us of everything He has spoken. This assurance gives us the confidence to move forward, even when the road ahead is foggy. As we walk in alignment with God, His guidance will often challenge us to step out of our comfort zones. It's easy to stay in the places we know, to rely on what feels familiar, but God's guidance frequently calls us to trust Him in unfamiliar territory. This is where faith becomes essential. When we're willing to listen to His voice, we open ourselves up to opportunities that stretch us, grow us, and prepare us for what He has ahead. Moses' story is an excellent example of this. When God called him to lead the Israelites out of Egypt, Moses was reluctant, unsure, and insecure. He didn't feel qualified, but God's call and guidance led him through every obstacle, and he ultimately fulfilled a purpose greater than he could have ever imagined. The guidance of God also provides reassurance in moments of doubt. When we don't know what direction to take, when we stand at a crossroads unsure of what choice to make, we can trust that God will provide the clarity we need. The Bible reassures us that God's will is good, pleasing, and perfect, Romans 12:2, and that He delights in guiding His children along the best paths. This doesn't mean that every path will be free from difficulty, but it does mean that no matter where we find ourselves, God is with us, working all things together for our good, Romans 8:28. In times of uncertainty, knowing that God is leading us with wisdom and love brings comfort and peace. Even when we feel like we are walking through darkness, God's guidance remains present. Psalm 23:4 reminds us that even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. His guidance is not just about clear paths in times of certainty, but about providing comfort and protection in moments of fear. Whether in moments of joy or sorrow, abundance or lack, God's guidance is a constant presence that helps us navigate through the complexities of life, ensuring that we are never alone. As we continue on the journey of life, we must remain sensitive to God's guidance. It requires patience, trust, and a willingness to listen even when His direction doesn't fit with our plans or expectations. We are called to trust that God knows what is best for us and that His wisdom far surpasses our own understanding. Through every twist and turn in our lives, we can walk confidently, knowing that His hand is steady, His love is unfailing, and His guidance is always for our ultimate good. Overcoming obstacles is a critical part of any journey, especially when it comes to fulfilling a greater purpose in life. Life is filled with challenges, and it is through these challenges that we often grow the most. We tend to think of obstacles as roadblocks, signs that we should turn back or give up, but in reality, they are often the very things that prepare us for what's ahead. It's easy to get discouraged when faced with hardship, but if we approach obstacles with the right mindset, they become opportunities for growth, resilience, and transformation. God has a way of using our struggles to mold us into the people we are meant to be. In the Bible, James 1:2-4 encourages believers to consider it pure joy whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. This passage illustrates that obstacles are not merely setbacks, but are instrumental in developing perseverance and strength. Through the challenges we face, we develop the qualities that equip us to handle even greater responsibilities and opportunities. When we encounter difficulties, it's important to keep our focus on the larger picture. While it may seem like everything is falling apart in the moment, God is often using these circumstances to refine our character, teach us patience, or build our trust in Him. The story of Joseph in the Bible serves as a powerful example of overcoming obstacles. Joseph faced betrayal, slavery, and imprisonment, but each obstacle was a stepping stone that led him to a position of great authority where he could fulfill his purpose and save many lives. His journey teaches us that setbacks are not the end, they are just part of the process. Facing challenges with faith and resilience changes our perspective. It allows us to see obstacles not as barriers, but as invitations to grow stronger, wiser, and more dependent on God's strength rather than our own. Faith in action is a concept that goes beyond mere belief. It requires us to take tangible steps, even when the future seems uncertain or unclear. Faith in its purest form is not just something we say with our mouths, but something we live out through our choices, actions, and daily decisions. It's easy to claim we believe in God's promises, but the true test of faith comes when we're called to move forward in situations that do not make sense to us. It's in these moments that our faith is put to the test and can begin to bear fruit. When we choose to act in faith, we're acknowledging that our trust in God outweighs our understanding of the situation. Hebrews 11:1 defines faith as the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Faith is the confidence that even when we don't see the way, God is already at work behind the scenes, orchestrating everything for our good. It's about choosing to trust in God's plan, even when the road ahead is unclear or when the challenges we face seem insurmountable. Moving forward with faith means taking one step at a time, even if we can't see the whole journey. One of the clearest examples of faith in action is found in the story of Abraham. In Genesis 12, God calls Abraham to leave his homeland and go to a place that He would show him, even though Abraham had no idea where he was going. Abraham didn't know the end of the journey or what obstacles he would face, but he took that first step in obedience. His faith wasn't a passive belief, it was an active, courageous decision to trust God, even without knowing all the details. This act of faith became the foundation for God's covenant with Abraham, leading to blessings not only for him, but for generations to come. Faith in action also requires us to go beyond comfort. It calls us to leave behind the familiar and take risks that might seem unreasonable from a worldly perspective. The story of Peter walking on water is another powerful example. When Peter saw Jesus walking on the water, he called out, "Lord, if it's you, tell me to come to you on the water." Jesus said, "Come." Peter stepped out of the boat and began walking on the water toward Jesus. This was an act of faith in the most literal sense. Peter could have stayed safely in the boat, but he chose to act on the belief that Jesus would hold him up, even in the midst of an impossible situation. His faith led him to take a step that defied logic and reason. When he began to doubt, he sank, but even then Jesus reached out to save him. This illustrates that faith in action does not guarantee smooth sailing, but it does promise that God will never leave us or forsake us. Faith in action is also about making choices that reflect our trust in God's provision. In the story of the widow who gave her last 2 coins in Mark 12, Jesus praises her because she gave with a heart full of faith, not knowing how she would be provided for. Her act of faith was not based on the abundance of her resources, but on her trust that God would meet her needs. This kind of faith doesn't rely on our circumstances, but on God's ability to supply all our needs, even when the odds seem stacked against us. Living out faith means taking steps that might not make sense in the moment, but it is through these steps that we see God's power manifest in ways that we could never imagine. Acting in faith requires courage, but it also brings with it the assurance that God is with us, guiding us every step of the way. When we choose to trust and act on that trust, we open the door for God to do the impossible, turning what seems like a leap into a solid foundation for His purpose in our lives. Transformation and growth are central to the journey of fulfilling one's purpose. When we embark on a path guided by a higher calling, we cannot expect to stay the same. This journey, particularly one that is aligned with God's will, demands that we shed old ways of thinking, living, and acting, making room for the new creation that God is molding us into. Transformation is not just about outward changes, but it is a deep internal process that affects every area of our lives, our heart, mind, and spirit. This process of growth often involves discomfort as it challenges us to confront our weaknesses, fears, and habits that are not aligned with the purpose God has for us. Just as a seed must be buried in the ground and undergo a period of transformation before it can break through the soil and reach its full potential, so too must we go through seasons of preparation and pruning before we can fully blossom into people we are meant to be. Romans 12:2 speaks to this transformation when it says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will." This transformation begins with the renewing of our minds, replacing old ways of thinking with God's truth. As we grow, God works in us and through us, shaping our character, refining our actions, and helping us to become more like Christ. It's easy to focus on external achievements, but the true measure of growth is often internal. It is about developing qualities such as patience, kindness, humility, and love virtues that reflect the heart of God. Galatians 5:22-23 lists the fruits of the Spirit, which are the result of allowing God's transformation to take root in our lives. These fruits: love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control are the markers of a life that has been changed by God. Transformation also involves understanding that growth is a process. It is not instantaneous, but occurs gradually over time. Just as an athlete must practice and train regularly to improve their performance, so too must we invest time and effort into growing spiritually. This growth often requires commitment to prayer, study of the Word, and a willingness to be guided by the Holy Spirit. Even when we don't see immediate results, we can trust that God is working behind the scenes, shaping us into the person He has called us to be. Sometimes growth also means facing challenges that feel like setbacks. But those challenges are often the soil on which our character grows strongest. Just as a tree faces harsh weather conditions that test its roots, we too face hardships that strengthen our faith and endurance. James 1:2-4 reminds us that we should consider it pure joy when we face trials, because the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. Growth is never easy, but it is in those difficult times that we are refined, prepared, and stretched for what lies ahead. In the process of transformation, we also come to realize that we are never truly done growing. God's work in us is ongoing, and as long as we are open to His guidance, we will continue to evolve into the person He has designed us to be. The beauty of this journey is that it's never static. There is always something new to learn, a new depth to explore, and a greater understanding of our purpose to uncover. Our growth is a lifelong process, and with each step forward, we become more equipped to fulfill the purpose God has set before us. This ongoing transformation is a sign of God's faithfulness. He does not leave us as we are, but He continues to shape and mold us, helping us to grow into a reflection of His love, grace, and character. As we embrace this journey of growth and transformation, we can trust that every step, no matter how challenging, is part of the process that leads us closer to fulfilling our divine purpose. Living a life of purpose is not just about achieving personal goals or gaining success. It's about leaving a lasting impact that transcends our own lives. The true value of purpose is measured not by what we accumulate for ourselves, but by how we use what God has given us to bless others. This is where the concept of legacy comes into play. Legacy is built on the foundation of how we live our lives, the choices we make, and the influence we have on those around us. It's about investing in something greater than ourselves, an impact that continues to ripple through generations. One of the most powerful aspects of legacy is its ability to outlive us. The decisions we make today shape the future for those who come after us. Our words, our actions, our love, and our service have the potential to leave an indelible mark on the world. Proverbs 13:22 tells us, "A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children." This inheritance is not just material wealth, but the wisdom, values, and faith that we passed away through generations. What we teach, how we love, and the way we live our lives can become a beacon all us long after we are gone. A life of purpose is one that intentionally seeks to serve others. Jesus, as the ultimate example of purpose, modeled of sacrificial love and service. In Mark 10:45, He said, "For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give His life as a ransom for many." When we live in a way that prioritizes the well-being of others, we leave a legacy that is rooted in love and service. This kind of legacy is not about building our own kingdom, but about contributing to God's kingdom. It's about using the talents and resources God has entrusted to us to bless those around us, creating a ripple effect of good extends beyond our immediate circles. Living with a sense of purpose and creating a lasting legacy also means being mindful of the impact we have on others. Every relationship we have, whether with family, friends, co-workers, or even strangers, has the potential to leave a mark. The way we treat others, the kindness we show, the forgiveness we offer, and the encouragement we provide can leave lasting impressions that outlast our time on earth. In 2 Corinthians 9:8, we are reminded that God is able to bless us abundantly, so that in all things at all times, having all that you need, you will abound in every good work. As we allow God to work in and through us, we are empowered to do good works that will have lasting value. The legacy we leave is not confined to our earthly life, it is also eternal. Jesus spoke of treasures in heaven, telling us in Matthew 6:19-20, "Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moths and vermin destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moths and vermin do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal." Our acts of service, our commitment to righteousness, and our devotion to God's will are investments in eternal treasures. These treasures are not temporary, like wealth or status, but are the lasting fruits of a life well lived in accordance with God's purpose. As we focus on building a legacy, it becomes clear that the best way to leave an enduring impact is by living a life rooted in faith, love, and service. Our purpose is not just for our own benefit, but for the benefit of others and for the glory of God. Each day presents an opportunity to make choices that will shape the legacy we leave behind. Whether through small acts of kindness or grand gestures of service, we are continually planting seeds that will grow into a harvest of blessings for future generations. This is the power of purpose. It is not just about the present moment, but about how our lives influence the future, leaving behind a legacy that reflects God's love and faithfulness for years to come.